Hi there guys, Anton here from SA 4x4 magazine. We're here at Henop's 4x4 trail here in the northwest, and today we're talking about recoveries. Now I've got Bernie here from 4x4 Mega World. Welcome Bernie.
Thanks, Anton.
Why are we talking about 4x4 recoveries today? Well, I think Bernie, you can tell us more. Out of your experience, what have you found?
Anton, yes, once you've bought the 4x4, it's the most logical thing is, well, hopefully you've gone for a bit of 4x4 training before you decide to head off somewhere. At some stage you're going to get stuck. It's everybody's nightmare, but it's going to happen somewhere along the line. And if you have a 4x4 and you've never been stuck, then you've obviously not really been off-road, or you're not trying hard enough. But everybody gets stuck at some stage.
Okay, so there's a lot going on also about egos. Who's pulling out who and who's recovering who. If you drive a Ford, you can't be recovered by a Toyota. And if you drive a Land Cruiser, never ever let the Land Rover be in front. What's happening there?
Remember, I started off in Land Rovers. So I know exactly what it's like to be ragged. So it was, nobody's going to recover me if I'm driving my Land Rover, no Toyota. That's not your first concern. Your first concern should always be safety. Yes, I know it's an ego thing, and I know we like to tease each other and things like that, but everything within boundaries, But when it comes to safety, it really doesn't matter who or what is recovering you. And what we tend to do is when somebody gets stuck, we want to rush in and be the hero of the day. Instead of just standing back and maybe having that cigarette you're not supposed to have a cold drink, and just have a nice look at what's really going on. Because recoveries at the end of the day is something that is logical. And unfortunately, logic doesn't grow in everybody's gardens anymore. So if you were to just stand back and just have a nice look at where you are and why you got stuck in the first place, then suddenly you realize, but hang on, this is going to be over quickly. It's not that bad.
How do you normally decide who takes lead? Yes, for you it's easy when you're in a group and you're traveling through Botswana.
Anton, it should always be the guy that has the most experience. Okay. I enjoy heading off into the bush on my own, but I also realize that it's dangerous to do that because anything can go wrong. Never head off into the bush on your own. That's the worst thing that you can do. If you're going to do that kind of thing, you need to be so well equipped and so well trained that you can recover yourself. And to be very honest with you, you might find yourself in a situation where you can't recover yourself. And then you're stuck unless you have a satellite phone. You're on your own. But if you're going in a group, the more experienced, more senior guy is the guy that should take charge. Okay? You cannot have 20 guys in the group shouting what needs to happen. One person takes charge, and that person decides how and what and when. And for the rest of the people, the spectators, please stand as far as possible away. I normally say to people, if you're going to be using a snatch recovery or snatch rope, average length of that is 9 meters. It extends to 13 meters, so you need to be double the distance away. So 13 times 2 is going to give you roughly about 30 meters. So that tells you how far you need to stand away from recoveries. And the thing is, if something does go wrong, if a recovery point fails or anything like that, that becomes a projectile. Then your 30 meters away doesn't really mean anything.
So if you can give us, you said now distance and everything, but is there 3 or 4 critical safety tips that you could give us?
Well, first and foremost, you need to know what you're doing. You need to be trained to know what you're doing. Use the right gear for the right situation. Who determines at the end of the day what kind of recovery am I going to do? Am I going to use a high lift jack? Am I going to use a winch? Am I going to use a snatch rope? What am I going to use? So that's why I say the senior person in that group needs to take charge, and he ultimately decides at the end of the day, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do this at the end of the day. To start off with, when you buy a 4x4, there's certain basic recovery equipment that you need. And in spite of what people might think, now, yes, I need a high lift jack because it looks cool on the side of my car. No, sir, that's wrong. That's not what you need, okay? And a lot of people, unfortunately, buy stuff just for the cool value of it. They don't, I need a winch on my car. What people don't understand, a winch is on the front end of the car. What happens if you need to go backwards? Now you can't winch yourself backwards.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You know, that kind of thing. So there's certain basic recovery pieces of equipment that you need when you head out for the first time.
Bernie, and we've got a sample of a couple of stuff that you guys have available at 4x4 Mega World. What sort of equipment would you suggest is a good starting point for anyone that's just bought his 4x4, he's done his 4x4 course at wherever? What do you suggest is the basics, the bare minimum that you should have in your vehicle before you're going off-road?
You're going to laugh at me now. The very first thing you're going to buy is a spade.
To cook in?
No, that's your starting point of recoveries. The thing is, we've all become very comfortable and we've all become very lazy. So I don't want to dig.
Well, I've got kids.
But it doesn't matter. 99% of the time, you need a spade to remove whatever's causing you to not go any further.
Okay.
So if I want to come backwards, I've now spun myself, and because it's I don't know if it's a South African thing or a universal thing. The moment people realize they're not going anywhere, it's always necessary to give it that last spin. So 10 seconds of spinning equals 10 minutes of digging. So when you realize you're not going anywhere, stop, come off the gas. Get out of the car, have a look, because 99.9% of the times you don't want to go forward because you're going to go deeper into trouble. There's a reason why you got stuck there in the first place. Maybe you're in the wrong gear, maybe you were doing it too slow, all that kind of stuff. You don't want to go further into that, you want to get out.
Maybe your tires weren't deflated.
All of that stuff. So there's a whole bunch of things, but the very basic thing that you need is you start with a spade, because now I can remove the sand or the mud behind the wheel that's blocking you. 9 out of 10 times it's formed a ridge, and now your car's struggling to climb over the ridge. So what I do now is I take the ridge away, which is causing a block. It's almost like a chock block when you jack your car up. It's doing exactly the same thing that a chock's going to do at the end of the day. So you need to remove that obstacle, hence the spade.
Okay.
How do I get the car from there? If you haven't deflated, deflate your tires then, okay? And then we decide on a course of action going out. And the next very basic piece of recovery equipment would be a kinetic strap. But there again, it's the easiest recovery to do, but it's also the most dangerous recovery to do. People need to read their license discs, okay? And it sounds very stupid when you say that, but there's a reason for that, because you've got a taro weight, which is the empty weight of the vehicle, and then you have the GVM, which is the gross vehicle mass, with everything on and everybody in. You should not exceed that weight, okay? If this vehicle, for argument's sake, and if memory serves me right, is 2,950 kilograms, let's call it 3 tons.
Yep.
Okay? If this vehicle is stuck, it no longer weighs 3 tons. Dead weight on this car, this is now 9 tons. It's times 3. Okay? So in theory, your 8,000 kilogram is not ample enough or strong enough, really, to pull this car that's been stuck now, that now weighs 9 tons.
Okay.
And it's the same with the winches. Guys go and buy a winch, and then he'll put a 9,500 pound winch on his car. Do the maths. I don't have the conversion table to convert that into
4 tons, give or take.
Okay. So now times 3.
Yeah, then your winch is not strong enough, no?
Now we start going, I have to use a snatch block because it's not strong enough. Okay. And it's that kind of information that you need to know before you go and buy that piece of equipment. That's why you walk into a 4x4 store and you see all these things and they look cool. I want one of these, and I want one of that, and I want this, and I want that, for the cool value of it. But it mustn't be for the cool value. It must be for the practical value, that I can use it, and it must be the right piece of equipment for the conditions that I'm in.
Benny, thanks for all the information today.
It's only a pleasure, Anton.
Guys, if you want to see more about all the products that's here, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and have a look in the SA4x4 magazine. We'll be discussing all these products in the next couple of months: application, safety, how to use it, and anything that comes in between. Cheers, guys.